It is Tuesday night, and we are live for the season finale for the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series. Tonight, the Islander in 125, where we will crown a new champion for the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Season number 6. I am Jeff Pye Jr., joined by Bill Tomer in the broadcast booth. And again, Bill, just like last night, huge field for the season finale, and 4 drivers going to be racing for the championship. One of them could become the first repeat winner of the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series.
Yeah, but man, you know what, Jeff? I was excited about this race all day long. As good as last night's race was, I'm looking more forward to this race because we didn't see as much battling between the championship contenders last night. The 4 guys didn't get as tight to each other as I think these 4 guys are going to. So I cannot wait to see what happens in this race.
Well, Ricky Howell had a heck of a run going last night. Got taken out late in an incident. Very, very fast, though. Ricky's been fast in practice all day. He'll be one of those 4 drivers racing for a championship, along with Blake Thronberg, who is coming out as one of the favorites with most wins this season, tied with Bladen Edwards. Blake will be racing for the championship. Then Reagan Parent is part of that 4-car group racing for the championship. And then Bladen Edwards has a chance to become the first repeat winner in the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series. He won season number 1. But, Bill, he's got a long road ahead because he is going to start from the rear tonight due to a penalty incurred last week.
We've seen that that is a tough task. We saw Jackson Lewis last night try to make his way from the middle of the field up to the front. Just didn't have enough car left to get it done last night for that championship. So we'll see how Bladen does tonight. As you can see Barney there in the background, he's got the flag out for practice, and we're about to go qualifying.
And we did tell these guys we are guaranteeing that the 4 playoff drivers could not miss the show tonight. They will race no matter what. So it does put us at about 32 drivers going for 30 spots. We heard Bladen might just opt to start dead last rather than try to work his way up through the B main. So we're going to see. Car's going to head out onto the racetrack for Wisconsin Weeds and Walleyes qualifying. Last chance to earn a $5 bonus this season for set and fast time. And I see Ricky Howell heading on the racetrack. We see Blake Thronberg in the 22 heading out. And I believe we're going to see Reagan Parent as well right onto the racetrack. So those guys not wanting to waste any time. They're going right out of practice, and they're going to try to lay down a flyer.
We caught a cloud, Jeff. It was pretty sunny during practice, and here, going into qualifying, darkness on the speedway.
Yeah, that's going to change the way the car drives. Reagan Parent bails out of his lap. He's going to go back to the pits, try again. Ricky Howell did the same. So they did not like that first run, didn't want to cross the line, begin lap 2, as Blake Thronberg goes fast time so far, 19.228. That was much quicker than his practice speed, so he found a little extra grip out there in the cool weather.
Bladen ditched that highlighter yellow car already, Jeff. I'm super disappointed. I love that car. Although this one is pretty neat looking. Man, that highlighter car it stuck out, but tonight, black and pink and purple machine. So he's still going to stick out, Jeff. Good looking car.
Brandon Lee goes second quick, 19.235. Kevin Ammon, who's been on fire as of late, leads the SimRat market standings, goes 19.256 for third fastest. Reagan Parent to 4th on the board. That's a good lap to keep Reagan within reach of Blake Thronberg. Mason Johnson goes P5. Brad Carpenter P6. Still waiting to see Ricky Howell or Bladen Edwards. Bladen actually just laid down a very slow lap just to get one in the books.
Ricky Howell out on the racetrack right now, going down into turns 3 and 4, and the number 20 car looks like he's going to be able to complete his qualifying effort.
Got way up the racetrack, though, and that's going to slow some speed. It's still fairly quick. Going to be 6th fastest for Ricky Howell, 19.275. And we heard what his son, Peyton Howell, said last night, that Ricky probably would have set fast time on Monday night, but he actually knocked down the wall coming off turn 4 there. So similar issues, just pushing a little too hard for pole. Kiernan Church just went P3, 19.243 for Kiernan. That is a heck of a lap right there. Found a little bit more than his practice speed showed.
That's just about everybody, Jeff. I think everybody's pretty much put in their qualifying effort. We only have about 10 seconds left in this session. It looks like James Pileski no longer in the server, Jeff. Is that the case?
Yeah, James Pileski, penalty from last week, not going to be able to take part in the race this week. So He was just arrived in practice and then going to have to sit out the rest of the night. Part of that TP3D penalty report. And Bill, we are heading into our last B main of the season. We're going to take 8 drivers from this one, move them on to the feature event. Waiting on your field to grid here as we get set to go racing again. Blake Thronberg, your Wisconsin Weens and Walleyes Quick Time Award winner, another $5 in his pocket. So he's going to race for the championship later tonight. Your B main coming at you on the pole, the 30, Jacob Bohm on the outside of him. In the 22 machine, it'll be CJ Grooms.
Starting in the 3rd position in the number 18 machine, that is Casey Wiggins. And on his outside in the 156, that's Michael Kirchner.
Starting 5th tonight will be the 98 of Sam Wetstein on the outside of him. In the 6th position, your B main points leader, the 39 of Scott Negus.
Jason Lottridge is going to roll off P7 in the 03, and on his outside in the number 317, that's Alvin Hires.
Starting 9th tonight will be the 12 of William Griffith, and dead last on the field, one of the guys that'll be racing for a championship tonight does have to start in the back due to a penalty. It's the 72 of Bladen Edwards.
I stand corrected, Jeff. The highlighter car's back. I had an issue.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
He had that one last night. He brought out the highlighter car for night number 2.
Yeah, the highlighter car is back here as we get set to go for the B main. 8 drivers going to move on. Looking at the Facebook chat, Jeff By in the house. Elliot Carlson here said, who's driving for Kieran Church this week? Kieran's finding his rhythm now in the late model stock and laid down a heck of a lap. Neil Vinarowski not here tonight, but he's in the Facebook chat, and he is cheering for Michael Grooms. Michael already in the show. CJ going to try to put it into the show here from the outside front row of the B main. As pace car heads off the racetrack, it'll be Jacob Bohm taking him green flag racing. And he is off and away. Here we go. B main underway, and top 8 going to move on to tonight's feature event.
Bohm gets a really good restart. The battle's going to be for second as CJ Groom and Casey Wiggins are going to be side by side through turns 1 and 2. You can see Wetstein and Kirchner, they're side by side as well. Everybody cleaning green through turns 1 and 2 down into turns 3.
Yeah, Jacob Bohm is taken off. He has stretched the lead out as Casey Wiggins and CJ Grooms battle for the 2nd position. Sam Wetstein has moved himself into 3rd. Now they're looking 3 wide further back. Lottridge gets into Kirchner. Again 3 wide as Negus goes by the top. Everybody holds on. Wild moment back there for about the 4th position.
Kirchner did a nice job hanging on to that car. Has got another battle. William Griffith, Scott Negus are going to be side by side. That is a battle for the 6th position. Remember, 8 cars going to transfer into tonight's A main. That 8th and final car right now is Alvin Hires in the 317 machine.
Casey Wiggins and CJ Grooms battling hard for the 2nd spot. That outside holding off well here as Casey Wiggins is struggling. We saw last night the outside line started to heat up towards the end of the race and got better. Well, right now it's already starting out well because Wiggins just cannot clear the 22 with CJ Grooms.
A little bit different racetrack tonight, Jeff. We run the same temperatures in order to keep the setup under these drivers, but we do run that sky that changes. And so that's what you're seeing right now. Is last night we had a really sunny day, and today we've got clouds in the sky. It's partly cloudy, but definitely making it a little bit of a gloomy feel here on the racetrack.
Well, if you're wondering about the 72 at the back of the field, he has not even attempted to try to do anything. We did tell the top 4 in points that they were locked into the show tonight. So Bladen Edwards is doing his part to try to get 31 cars to start tonight because he has dropped back behind the rest of the B main field and is not attempting to pass anybody.
Tight racing here with Negus. Lottridge on the outside in the 03. Here comes William Griffith in the 2. Griffith was really close to the back bumper, and Negus through 3 and 4, but they stay clean. And now Lottridge going to lose that position on the top side of 1 and 2. Griffith to the bottom. And there's Alvin Hires running in that 8th and final transfer spot in that 317 JBL machine.
Well, William Griffith trying to take a spot away from Jason Lottridge. Lottridge is working the outside too. Now it's going to fall behind. So he might look for the little crossover there. No, can't quite get that car to the bottom. So going to fall back a spot. Then gets big time sideways. He's going to be under attack from Alvin Hires in the 317 here. And Hires starts to work his way up.
front. Jacob Boehm continues to lead this field.
Boehm's got a nice, comfortable lead right now over CJ Grooms. Casey Wiggins has fallen in line behind Grooms. Remember, he tried to pass him on the inside for the longest time. They ran side by side for 5-6 laps, and Casey just was not able to complete that pass. So the outside line already a little bit better than it started last night. That could be trouble later in this race. The outside line might end up being the place you want to be. Boehm leads this one just past halfway. CJ Grooms, Casey Wiggins. Now it looks like Grooms is starting to gain on your leader. And as they're starting to gain on the leader, so is Sam Weststein and Scott Negus. They are starting to come into this group. Negus going to go to the bottom on the 98. He's going to try to take away this 4 spot. All that ground they just gained, Bill, they're probably going to lose it here as they race side by side down the back straightaway.
Well, right now, that's not on Negus' mind as he wants to try to take that position away from Wetstein as he looks to the bottom, the 98 up the hill. Scott Negus in that 39 car is going to take the 4th position, move Wetstein back to 5th.
Scott Negus leads your B-main points, and Sam Weststein was one of those guys, along with William Griffith, that was just behind him in the standing, so he could lock this thing up right now if he can finish ahead of them, and I believe Bill Revelry Racing was putting up a little bit of money for the B-main champion.
That's right, $25 to the B-main champion this season. So if you weren't fortunate enough to qualify into these races and you run in the B-mains and you do well in the B-mains, transfer yourself in, you got a shot at $25 at the end of the year. Right now, Scott Negus looking at that money.
Scott Negus up into the 4th spot. Jacob Boehm still leads. CJ Grooms has been making some progress. Casey Wiggins is right with him, and it's now a 3-car breakaway up front as Negus took a little bit to get around Sam Weststein, lost some ground to your leaders.
Good racing, though, here in the B main, but unfortunately for the lead, Jacob Boehm making a little bit of a snoozer as he's just controlling this race. Up the track a little bit in the 30. As I say that, gets a little bit loose. That's going to give Grooms and Wiggins an opportunity to close in on the leader.
Yeah, that car looked free into turn 1 as well, so that thing's starting to maybe burn up the right rear tire about 16 laps in. And we saw it last night. A couple guys burned up the right rear really early on a very hot pace. So Jacob maybe learning a little something right here that you're not going to be able to run this pace that you're running right now in the future event. This is definitely just to get yourself into the show.
Cody Kelly, last night's winner, absolutely dominated the last 3 quarters of that event. He did tell us on the interview after the race that you want to drive this car with an egg under the throttle pedal at Myrtle Beach Speedway, and I think that's the best advice you can give these guys. You watch these cars wag the tail off the corners. That's not what Cody Kelly was doing all night long, was able to keep tires on that race-winning car.
Yeah, definitely need to make sure you don't burn up the rear tires, and it's going to be an endurance race, not a sprint tonight. 125 laps here. This is a big, fast racetrack. And definitely need to take care of the tires as we hit 2 to go. Jacob Boehm out front, CJ Grooms, Casey Wiggins, your top 3. Field's gotten nice and spread out. Alvin Heers continues to hold on to the 8th and final transfer spot over Michael Kirchner. And Jacob Boehm's going to see the white flag this time. Into turn 3, Jacob Boehm has stretched it out a bit on the final lap. It was able to pull about a car length than CJ Grooms. At the line, he is going to win the B main. Take CJ Grooms, Casey Wiggins, Scott Negus, Sam Weststein, William Griffith, Jason Lawridge, and Alvin Hires into the A main. Bladen Edwards going to take a provisional, and we'll start 31st tonight. Well, Bill, we talked about that SimRat Market Challenge, and SimRat Market's going to have a little bit of a word for us during our 2-minute warm-up final practice session for tonight's Islander in 125.
course, Simrat Market bringing, what do we even call it, Jeff? The best of the rest? Is that the award?
Yeah, it is for the non-playoff drivers. And I tell you what, like Kevin Ammon is leading that challenge right now. And if Kevin would have made all the races here, probably would have found himself be a playoff driver because he is that fast.
Obviously in the running for that $25 from simratmarket.com. Go check it out. If you need a paint scheme for your race car here on iRacing, that is the place to go. We appreciate their support. And finally get a commercial, Jeff. How cool.
I know, it's so neat to have the commercials playing now during our broadcast. Makes us feel like pros. Bill, there was a decision made during that commercial break. Bladen Edwards stretched the field out to 31 cars. That was going to send just Michael Kirchner home. We decided why not make it 32. We're going to start everybody tonight.
Wow. So feeling generous tonight on our last evening.
It's the last race of the season, last chance for these guys to get to race before our summer break, so let's do it.
I like it. It's a good choice.
Well, Bill, we are getting set to grid for the Islander in 125. 4 drivers racing for the championship tonight. Heads up, points don't matter. It's whoever finishes first between those 4 drivers will go home with the championship. We've already crowned one champion this week. We're looking for another. Here we go. The starting lineup for the Islander in 125. On the pole, one of those playoff drivers, the 22. That's Blake Throneberg. On the outside of him, a winner this season in the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series, the 10 of Brendan Lee.
Starting third in another number 22 machine, that is Kieran Church. And on his outside, we just talked about him in the number 7 car, it's Kevin Ammon.
Starting 5th, one of your playoff drivers, the 17 of Reagan Parent on the outside of him. And the 25 machine, that'll be Mason Johnson.
Hunter Harriet is going to start 7th in that number 81 car. And on his outside, another one of your playoff drivers in the number 20, that's Ricky Howell.
Starting 9th tonight will be the 31 of Brad Carpenter. And on starting 10th position, the 07, that'll be Kyle Martinson.
Jake Grout rolls off P11 in the number 49 VT machine. And on his outside, it's Uncle Pete, Peter Fisher.
Starting 13th tonight, the ravishing one and the Islander in machine, the 81 of Rick Rube. On the outside of him, starting 14th, we know this guy brings out the fans on YouTube, the 8 of Braxton DeWeese.
Starting in the 15th position in the 09, it's the Joker, Elliot Carlson, and to his outside in that number 2 machine. Ooh, I think it's a Dick Trickle car, that number 2 car. That's Todd Cousins.
Starting 17th tonight in the 81, it's Michael Grooms. On the outside of him in the number 3 car, it's David Hill.
Travis Roma's going to roll off P19 in the number 38, and on his outside in the number 78 car, that's Cody Boehm.
Starting 21st tonight in the 17, it's Mr. Thunderstruck himself, Josh Oswald. On the outside of him, it's the return of the number 40, Donald Clark.
Your B main winner, Jacob Boehm, rolls off P23 of that number 30 car, and on his outside of the third number 22, that's CJ Grooves.
Starting 25th tonight in the 18 machine, it's Casey Wiggins. On the outside of him, I believe it's going to be the 39, Scott Negus.
Sam Wetstein rolls off P27 in the number 98, and on his outside, starting 28th, and that is going to be the 12 car, William Griffith.
Starting 29th will be the 03 of Jason Lottridge. On the outside of him, starting 30th, the 317, that's Alvin Hires.
Your last and final roll will be the 156 of Michael Kirchner, and on his outside, your last and final playoff contender, that is the 72 machine of Bladen Edwards.
Well, Bill, we talked about if Bladen's going to become a repeat winner, championship winner in this series, he's going to do it the hardest way possible from dead last in a 32-car field. It's a long race. Tire strategy is going to matter, but that is a long road ahead for the 72.
I completely blew it on the Todd Cousins car, Jeff. That is a Mark Martin machine.
There we go.
Yeah, that's terrible on my part. I felt horrible. And as soon as I said it, it says like Mark Martin on the back. It's like, and cool I felt dumb immediately, but oh well. You know, we can correct our mistakes. That's a Mark Martin car. Very cool paint scheme this week. And of course, Richard Petty still driving that pace truck. Will not leave the racetrack.
The Firebird on the hood of that car too. That's pretty cool.
We're going to get a good shot of it again. We're going to take it. Look at that. Look at that. A little Mark Martin action. I mean, it's just old school, right? I mean, I didn't know. I saw the side. We're going to give it to you here. As it went by, yeah, Mark Martin Racing Team on the back. That's when you feel dumb, kids. When you say Dick Trickle, then that shows you exactly how you were wrong.
Well, here we go, Bill. The field is set. 32 cars ready to go double file here. The Islander in 125 laps last night. It was all Cody Kelly who could get out front of this field, maybe set the pace and still have tires left to go. It's going to be a strategy game all night long. Blake Thronberg and Brendan Lee going to take us green flag racing. We are on for the season finale of the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series.
A little bit of a checkup for the bottom row there. That's going to give Brendan Lee an opportunity to get in front of Kieran Church. Kieran Church on the inside. He's going to have Kevin Ammon to his outside onto the back straightaway. Church was the one that had to check up a little bit on the bottom. Everybody does a good job not running into each other. We see a lot of restarts, Jeff, for those guys accordion like that and they crash. That would have been heartbreaking if that happened on the first lap.
Well, Thronberg didn't get to the bottom, and that allowed Brendan Lee to go around him. He's going to lead lap number 1. Brendan Lee, your leader, as Thronberg slots into the second position. Behind them, they are battling hard still. That's Kevin Ammon on the outside of the 22 of Kieran Church on the inside. Mason Johnson has found his way to the bottom, along with Reagan Parent. The field getting mostly single file as Kevin Ammon finds his way in line. Huge
field of race cars tonight. 32 late model stocks here on Myrtle Beach.
And the first half got themselves single file pretty quickly. Then about 20th on back, they are still doubled up. And that starts with Cody Boehm and Travis Roma battling for the 20th spot. As Cody Boehm's going to go around the outside. Here comes Donald Clark looking for a position.
Donald Clark making his return in that 40 car. Jeff, that is a replica of his real-life Charger car. Drives the 40 now in real life. And having a great season in Florence, South Carolina at Florence Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I'm glad Donald Clark's season's been going better in real life than it was on iRacing the last time we saw him. I mean, we always just commented on it, how much he just seemed to have the worst luck. So hopefully things turn around for Donald Clark. A little break will make the luck go his way here.
We unofficially named our Hard Luck Award after him. And Donald Clark, what did I do to deserve that award?
Well, Mason Johnson on the move up front, trying to take away the 4th spot from Kieran Church. Church had to check up a little bit for Kevin Ammon. That got him up the racetrack and opened up the door for Mason. Mason going to take it. Now, can Reagan Parent get there to try to take a spot? Looks like Kieran's going to get down in line. Nope, Reagan's going to run that inside, force the 22 to stay high, and Reagan Parent going to try to take over 5th here.
Reagan Parent moving forward. Ricky Howell attached to the back bumper of the 17 car. He's going to run there as well. Those two playoff drivers, they are nose to tail. They don't want to lose contact with each other. But they need to get up to that other 22 up front because Blake Thronberg is your first playoff driver up there in second place.
Mason Johnson just got in the back of Kevin Ammon as well, so the 25 is definitely trying to push the pace. He is on his way to the front. Is Hunter Harriet also trying to go around Kieran Church? Bill, they had gotten single file. They are already doubled up now all over the racetrack as Ricky Howell's trying to get underneath Reagan Parent all the way down to the grass down the front straightaway.
He makes the move. Ricky Howell takes over that. We'll make it, what is it, the 6th position? Make it the 5th position on the racetrack, but the 2nd position in your playoff contenders. Of course, we're going to try to figure out where Bladen Edwards is as the night goes on. He hasn't made much ground up as he's still running 30th.
That was a bold move from Ricky Howell this early into this race, but he decided he wanted to get around Reagan Parent, and he really made Reagan lose a couple spots there as well. He's now falling behind Hunter Harriet and Kyle Martinson to move Reagan all the way back to the 8th spot.
A lot of race cars on this racetrack, Jeff. Battles happening everywhere. Donald Clark is still moving his way forward. He's moved up to the 19th spot. I see Peter Fisher up the racetrack right now. CJ Grooms and Casey Wiggins, they're battling here. 2 guys that transferred out of the B main.
And Braxton Deweese trying to move forward as the 71 of Peter Fisher stuck on the outside line, and the train has kind of formed there. He's got Rick Rube on the inside as well that will fill that hole as soon as the 8 gets by. So Pete trying to make the outside work, and he does inch ahead, going to pull alongside the 31 of Brad Carpenter here down the back straightaway.
A lot of race cars on the racetrack.
Telling you, Bill, that outside line might come in tonight because the 71 is going to go around Brad Carpenter here on the outside. As Ricky Howell is also on the move. He is underneath Kevin Ammon looking for the 4th spot. He's going to bring along the 81 of Hunter Harriet.
You talk about the outside, Jeff, as we watch this battle between Hunter Harriet and Kevin Ammon. Ammon up the racetrack. Here comes Kyle Martinson in the 07 machine as he's going to try to make the pass on Kevin Ammon as well. We talk about that outside lane, Jeff, and Josh Cottle was confident that he was going to be able to hold off Peyton Howe last night when they were running for the title. And we were kind of surprised by that. Honestly, when we were talking to him, he thought that the top side was going to be pretty good, and he was able to hold off Peyton Half and win.
Well, Ricky Howell, Hunter Harriet, and Kevin Martinson did get around Kevin Ammon. Now Martinson going to dive to the inside of Harriet here in the 81 machine, so Martinson moves up a spot. That's the 5th position now for the 07.
Of course, one of the things you're seeing, Jeff, is guys playing.
And caution.
Oh, we get a yellow. Jake Grout, I think, having an issue in that 49 machine. Yep, he is spun out on the back straightaway. Take a look and see what happened to him as he came off of turn number 2. I think
he was
makes
running
contact
14th.
with Rick Rube, Jeff. It looks like they made contact, kind of slap doors coming off of turn number 2.
Yeah, Jake was running in the 14th position. He was pretty far up in the field. And yeah, you called it. Just got up a little up at the racetrack there. Rick Rube's on the outside, contacting the door. Tell you what, the way the 49 spun after contact, that means he was doing everything he could to keep it off the 81. And he had that thing turned all the way to the left.
Yeah.
And as soon as it touched, it went around.
Good news is he did not hit anything. Bad news is he's lost a ton of track position. We're going to give you that from the Stinger Motorsports chopper cam. Those two guys made contact coming off the corner. Just unfortunate for the 49 machine. One last look from this camera angle.
And you can see the front end just kind of, he loses the front end there on exit, and that thing just starts to take off. And he's got the wheels cranked so hard to the left. As soon as he makes contact with Rick Rube, around it goes. And trouble for the 49. Going to fall all the way back to the 32nd position here. Everybody's still on the lead lap.
So a decent start to this event, 17 green flag laps. But unfortunately, our first caution comes a little bit sooner than it did last night as we ran, I think it was 83 straight laps from the green flag in the late model shootout series. Absolutely insane run for those guys. And we talked to those drivers after the race, Jeff, how stressed out Josh Cottle was. He couldn't even really get excited about the fact that he won the championship. And we talked to him in I guess, championship lane, a victory lane.
Yeah, he just wanted to catch his breath after that one. I mean, he was holding it for 125 laps, and he just wanted to relax for a moment. And we had to talk to him right then and there, and that was his reaction. I just need to breathe now. As here we go back to green flag racing. Brendan Lee and Blake Throneberg heading to the BSRM restart zone. Brendan Lee's off and away, got a great restart. He's going to bring along Mason Johnson. That might cost Throneberg a spot here as he's going to try to get down in front of Ricky Howell. Howell's going to try to keep that from happening.
Ricky Howell's going to go underneath Hunter Harriet for position. That's going to be a battle for the 4th spot. Blake Throneberg now running 3rd. So Ricky Howell has parked it on the back bumper of Throneberg. That's going to be a battle for your title for the moment. Right now, Reagan Parent's got a few cars between him. And, of course, we talked about Blade Edwards has a lot of work to do as he's up to 29th from his dead last starting spot.
Fun battle side by side between the 07 of Kyle Martinson and the 81 of Hunter Harriet. The problem for Harriet is he is way up on the outside right now, trying to run the 3rd groove. And it's actually working a little bit, able to find a little bit of momentum up there as he's got Ricky Howell just in front of him. Ricky's kind of in the middle, and that's making Hunter have to go way up the racetrack here.
Only thing I worry about is he's going to try to shut the door going down into turn number 3. Kyle Martinson not going to like that at all. And somehow Ricky Howell knew to walk up the racetrack. That was incredible driving from Ricky Howell.
I'm going to guess that Ricky Howell might have Peyton there. That might have called that out, just said back out of it because Kyle Martinson and Hunter Harriet are 3 wide. And Ricky did the smart thing, lived to fight another day. He's going to fall back a couple spots, but he's still got a clean race car to do battle with here.
Now, I don't think this Hunter Harriet, Kyle Martinson battle is over with. For the moment it is, but man, they were a little bit of gloves off action right there as Kyle Martinson had the door shut on him down the back straightaway and kept his nose there. And lucky for those guys, they didn't make contact. Lucky for Ricky Howell, they didn't make contact. But Ricky Howell, great job to know what to do there.
Yeah, you've got some hungry drivers right now trying to head to the front. That includes Mason Johnson, who is all over the 10 car. Brendan Lee trying to find a way around. They are starting to stack up now behind the leader. And Kyle Martinson on the move. So is Hunter Harriet. These guys all looking for just wins here. That's all that matters to them. They are not in the points battles.
There's an absolute gaggle of cars, Jeff. Starts with David Hill, as they were 3 wide going down the front straightaway. Everybody gets through 1 and 2 pretty good. David's got a little bit of he's got a little bit of damage, and there's a little bit of contact between Carpenter. Carpenter got loose on the high side, came down to the right front of David Hill, and they're going to go through turns 1 and 2 side by side again. Man, these really tight racing from these guys.
Bill, there's still 100 laps to go. What's happening out there?
I was just thinking the same thing. I wonder if these guys were told that this is a 125 lap race. It looks like we're out here running 40.
Yeah, this is wild. They are getting after it right now, and these playoff drivers having to be real cautious right now with the way that the everybody's amped up here for this season finale. Kyle Martinson has gotten around Blake Thronberg. Thronberg able to get down in front of Hunter Harriet, so he'll hold on to the 4th spot for the time being. But right now, Brendan Lee starting to he's starting to see the whole field lined up behind him. It looks like one of those Daytona trains right now.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Rick Rube in trouble.
Oh, we're gonna get a spinner.
Go around.
Cousins went around. He got hit from behind. Rick Rube caught the turtles, I believe, through turns 1 and 2. That stacked the field as Rube basically stopped. And unfortunately for Josh Oswald, Todd Cousins, and Jacob Boehm, they end up being the ones that spun around there. And I think Jacob Boehm has pretty good damage on the front end of the 30 car.
Well, you called it. It was right with Rick Rube and Peter Fisher, I think, got together. That's a pair of Revelry Racing cars.
They made contact through 1 and 2. Peter Fisher might have gotten a little loose on the high side. That's what happened. It wasn't the turtles. Take a look at the 71 car as we try to figure out what happened. And of course, we're going to give this to you from the Stinger Motorsports chopper cam. Watch that 71 on the top side. He gets a little bit loose, cuts down across the 81 car. And yeah, those guys are teammates. And then the mayhem ensues behind them. And unfortunately, the cars that didn't cause the caution are the ones that get caught in it. As Todd Cousins going to get hit from behind by Josh Oswald. Jacob Boehm is there as well.
Yeah, David Hill had to check up for Rick Rube. When Todd Cousins checked up for him, the cars 3-4 cars back that just can't see, like Josh Oswald and Jacob Boehm, they just have no idea what's happening in front of them. And they're looking at the spoiler of the cars right correctly in front of them, and all of a sudden they're piled into it.
There you get that Mark Martin car, Jeff. Remember, it's markmartin.digtrickle. For those of you that were not here during the opening of our broadcast, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about, which is probably a good thing. Of course, our replay playback screen brought to you by County Road Custom. Head over to countyroadcustom.com. They're also the presenters in the series. We absolutely 100% appreciate their help. Many seasons they've been supporting ITZR and the Challenger Series. It's known as the County Road Custom Challenger Series, and I think that is its, what, 6th season, Jeff?
Yeah, very, very cool. County Road to hang with us and do this, be part of the series. If you're looking for any kind of gifts or custom gifts, custom promotional items, reach out to them. They're a family-owned business in Iowa, veteran-owned, and they do some pretty cool stuff. They can make anything you need. As we head down the back straightaway, doubled up, ready to hit that Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing restart zone for Brendan Lee, Mason Johnson, Kyle Martinson, and now Blake Thronberg, and we are green flag racing once again. Brendan Lee off and away. Mason Johnson able to get down to the inside. Kyle Martinson's going to try to defend from Hunter Harriet here. He does hold off the 81.
Tough racing going down into turns 1 and 2. Here comes Blake Thronberg. He's going to try to put Hunter Harriet between he and Ricky Howe. Ricky Howe, what a move! What a move to the inside of Hunter Harriet as he shot it down there into turn number 3. Lucky that Hunter Harriet knew he was coming, or else that would have been going to the back situation. But Hunter Harriet gives him the room. We'll go yellow again as incident probably coming out of turn 4. Figure out what
it's
happened.
Alvin Hires around in the middle of 3 and 4.
That's a 317, the JBL machine. He might have gotten some contact. Looks like Jake Grout in the 49 might have been involved here. We'll watch it as they come off at 2. So Michael Bergstrom was having some issues there in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think Alvin let Bladen Edwards go. Realized, hey, that's a playoff car. Just was going to ride, and the 49 just got in there a little deep and kind of sent the 317.
Yes, I concur. Unfortunately, Todd Cousins involved in the second incident in a row. Michael Kirchner came in there and almost cleared out the 2-car. I was looking for that on the old Arca brake cam. Just watch here as on the right side of your screen, and Kirchner not hitting anything. That was scary. Can't really see around that wall. Giant wall there in 3 and 4.
Yeah. Well, especially those cars were sitting right up against it. That was the 2 of Todd Cousins. He was sitting like right against the wall. So as Kirchner came around the corner, he sees the other 2 cars and thinks, oh, I'll just go down the inside, and bam, car sitting there.
Of course, this race is the Islander Inn 125, brought to you by Islander Inn on Put In Bay up there in Ohio. Jeff, it's a Caribbean bar in Ohio. Rick Rube driving cool. The 81 Islander Inn machine.
And I've heard that now if you play your cards right, you might be able to get a lift into Put In Bay from Rick Rube. That I heard he might be doing some driving people around when you've had a couple too many.
Hey.
So, yeah, so the Ravishing one might give you a lift into town when you need it.
Would you call that a ravishing ride?
I would. That's a good name for it.
Yeah. That's
I
should
just
start a cab company called Ravishing Rides.
I just imagine Rick driving the party bus. That
Oh yeah. Rick's that guy. Set the field for you now. Brendan Lee, Mason Johnson, Kyle Martinson, your top 3. Blake Thronberg running in 4th. That is your first playoff drivers. Keep an eye on that black number 22 car. Ricky Howell, another playoff driver, running 5th. Hunter Harriet 6th. Kevin Ammon 7th. Kieran Church 8th. Braxton DeWeese is running 9th. And Peter Fisher, Uncle Pete's running in the 10th position. Reagan Parent, your third playoff driver, is running 11th. Reagan not having the night he's hoping for so far as he slid back a little bit in this event, but of course he could be saving tires for later in the race. And then your final playoff driver, Bladen Edwards, had to avoid some carnage so far. He's made his way from the 32nd starting position at 25th, working lap 39. So Bladen still has plenty of time to make his way through the field, as we've seen a lot more ramped up excitement here tonight in the Late Model Challenger Series.
But we want to make sure we're live right now on the broadcast because we have gone back to green. Brendan Lee out front of Mason Johnson on this single file restart. I think we were just a little bit delayed.
A little bit delayed, Jeff. We had a little bit of delay. There was some cursing,
now.
Jeff. There was some cursing on the live broadcast. We had to delay the broadcast for just a moment.
But we did restart single file, so you did miss a lot because they got strung out here on the single file restart with Brendan Lee out front, Mason Johnson right in the second spot ahead of Kyle Martinson, Blake Thronberg, Hunter Harriet, Ricky Howell, Kevin Ammon, Kieran Church, Braxton DeWeese, the first car making a move. So he's going to get underneath Kieran Church. He might green along the 71 of Peter Fisher here. So Kieran's going to fall into the 10th position, it looks like.
Peter Fisher looks to the inside of Kieran Church. That's going to be a battle for the 9th spot. We go yellow once again.
More trouble in the back of the field, it looks like. I think Michael Kirchner might have had an issue.
Trying to see what happened to Michael here.
Mike keyed up and said that was all his fault. I haven't gotten a look at it yet, but definitely hearing it's the 156.
Time to sing, Jeff.
Oh, I'm not going to sing, but I will say it looks like it's going to be an all-by-myself moment there as Kirchner got on the brakes just way too hard. And Jacob Boehm's going to finish that one off there as he goes around.
I wonder if Jacob said, oh, man, because there just wasn't really any missing the 156. So you get down into turns 3 and 4. You can see Boehm, he locks the brakes up, trying not to hit Kirchner. Yeah, we'll take a look at this from Boehm's cockpit view. And he turns it right and locks the brakes down, Jeff, so nothing he can do there.
Well, Bill, they only got 4 laps in there, so we're going to stay single file for this next restart. Brendan Lee out front of Mason Johnson, Kyle Martinson, Blake Throenberg, Hunter Harriet, Ricky Howell, Kevin Ammon, Braxton DeWeese. Kieran Church was able to hold on to 9th, kept the 71 into the 10th position. Reagan Parent runs 11th. If you're wondering about your playoff drivers, and Bladen Edwards in the 26th position right now.
Jeff, explain the 5-lap rule, the second single file restart.
So the way our penalty system works now, if you cause a caution within 5 laps of the start or restart, it is an extra half a point on your penalties. So if you get to 3 penalty points, you are parked for a night. And one driver was unfortunately cause of 2 yellows last week. That started in the first 5 laps of a restart. So he is out for tonight. And that means every time that happens, we go single file. They do not complete 5 laps. We go back single file restarts.
And that rule was implemented this season, as we saw the majority of incidents, or a lot of incidents were happening early on runs.
Yeah, I believe that one's going to be called the bullring rule, because that's where that started, where they just could not get going without running each other over. As we are back to the BSRM restart zone for Brendan Lee, Mason Johnson, Kyle Martinson, single file restart again. Huge gap between Ricky Howell and Kevin Ammon. Ammon did not get rolling very well in that restart. Now he's going to be right under attack from Braxton DeWeese going into turn 1, as Ammon just was off the pace a bit.
DeWeese going to take that spot from Kevin Ammon. That'll move DeWeese up into the 7th spot. Braxton having a good night tonight, was eliminated last week from the playoffs.
Braxton still fighting for that 5th spot and points as well with Cody Bohm. So still a lot on the line for those guys as well. They could still shuffle spots even though they're eliminated from winning the championship.
Hunter Harriet going to make a move on Blake Throenberg for that 4th position. So move Throenberg back in front of Ricky Howell. That was your leading playoff driver that got moved back a spot. And the second running playoff driver, he's now right behind him. So that's not what Throenberg really wanted to happen. But of course, I think these guys being a little bit savvy, Jeff, trying to save tires while they're running out here up front.
Yeah, and Ricky Howell now starting to gain on the 22 machine. Is Kyle Martinson now to the inside of Mason Johnson for 2nd. This is right in front of those playoff contenders as they battle hard up front early on. Kyle Martinson's going for the 2nd spot, and Mason Johnson up the racetrack. Here comes Hunter Harriet, and Mason Johnson's going to have to make that outside work because they are starting to line up on the inside, and Blake Throenberg's going to jump to the outside here of Hunter Harriet. He sees an opportunity maybe to go around the top side. Blake
Throenberg making an interesting move right now on the 22 cars. He jumps to the outside of Hunter Harriet. I think they were checking up a little bit in front of him, Jeff. He didn't like the pace that they were running, so he's going to go to the outside and try to make moves. That is aggressive for a playoff driver to want to pass cars right now. You got to keep those tires underneath you, but Ricky Howell's going to try to follow him as Hunter Harriet going to be to the inside of Ricky Howell.
Or Ricky's going to get the door slammed on him by Hunter Harriet. Now he drops to the bottom, and now Ricky Howell going to take the 81 down into turn 3 on the inside. Hunter Harriet's going to hold up on the outside. Bill, again, that outside is starting to come to life because Hunter Harriet just got passed by Blake Throenberg. Now he's able to hold off Ricky Howell here just for a moment, I guess.
Peter Fisher just absolutely pulled over and let Reagan Parent go. That was a battle for 10th. Fisher letting the playoff driver go a little bit farther back. Travis Roma, David Hill, they're battling. Here's Donald Clark on the outside of the 40. This is a battle just outside your top 15. These guys battling for 16th spot.
Well, Bill, Ricky Howell and Hunter Harriet have shared doors now a couple times, and I'm listening to the radio chatter, and they are frustrated with one another. Ricky Howell does not understand why the 81 is racing him this hard, and he is not happy with Hunter Harriet as they have banged doors twice now. Hunter's going to hold on to that 5th position. Ricky going to slot back into 6th.
Hunter Harriet, one of those South Carolina boys. You can see he's got that Shug Steakhouse on the front. That was on the front of the winner last night. Cody Kelly also runs that sponsor as well. So Hunter Harriet probably gets some advice from last night's winner, and he's trying to stay up in the top 5.
Yeah, some of those guys from the Kelly Racing team that are here tonight, like Mason Johnson, and probably got a little help right now from maybe Cody Kelly or Casey Kelly about what to do. And Mason Johnson's having a fantastic run right now in the 3rd spot, and so is Hunter Harriet in the 5th spot. Cody Bohm on the move as he's trying to get around Rick Rube. This is a battle for the 13th position. Rick on the outside now with Cody on the inside in the 78 machine.
That that battle happens right behind them. You can see at the top of your screen, Donald Clark's still on the outside. He's on the outside of David Hill. They're battling for 17th. Racing all over this racetrack. When you have 32 cars, you're going to have quite a few races on the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brandon Lee is starting to get some pressure from Kyle Martinson. Those two have broken out. They are about 0.6 of a second over Mason Johnson, but now Brandon's starting to get very protective of the bottom as Kyle tried to get there on the front straightaway, and Brandon took it all the way down to the inside line to defend, and Kyle Martinson had to check way up for the 10 machine.
And we're starting to creep on halfway. So we are about to get on to lap 61 as Brandon Lee continues to lead this race. Like you said, Jeff, those guys starting to gap the rest of the field. Mason Johnson kind of in a little bit of a void as he's a little bit behind the leaders and a little bit in front of the field.
The weather's starting to change as well. Starting to see some cloud cover come over the racetrack, and if it starts to drop the track temps, that will pick up more grip. So the speed will pick up. It's just, can you use it? Will it burn up too much tire having a little bit more extra grip? And that is a concern these guys need to have in the back of their head right now. Cody Boehm has been putting a lot of pressure to the 31 of Brad Carpenter. He has got around Rick Rube, now trying to get around Brad. Keeps trying the outside. He's really swinging that car wide through turns 1 and 2. Just can't quite make it stick up there on the outside on entry to 1.
Kieran Church looking to make a move towards the front of the field. That's a battle for 8th. He's looking to the inside of Kevin Ammon, makes the pass. He'll follow. Looks like Braxton DeWeese had made that move just a few laps ago. Now here comes Reagan Perrin, another one of your playoff drivers. He's going to make the move for 9th. So Kevin Ammon up that racetrack, Jeff. He is the leader in that SimRap market. You said he's the leader in the SimRap market point standings here for the guys that aren't in the playoffs. And Kevin Ammon having a little bit of a problem right now as he's sliding backwards.
And so is Ricky Howell because Braxton DeWeese just got under the 20. Now Ricky going to try to get down in front of Kieran Church. He does do so. So a big moment there. He was able to hold off the 22. Now Peter Fisher tried to get underneath Kevin Ammon. There was almost some contact there as he is under fire from Cody Boehm, who did get around Brad Carpenter. Now Rick Rube's going to try to get around the 31. And Bill, you can feel it. The intensity, it's almost halfway, and the intensity is starting to pick up now.
Why? It's so early still.
It is early, but I think these guys are getting antsy right now. They're starting to realize, some of these guys further back, that they got a lot of fast cars to pass, and I think they're getting a little nervous that they're waiting too long. As now Blake Throberg under attack, and your leader is around. Brendan Lee has just spun off turn 4. Caution's going to wave. Brandon does a 360, keeps it rolling, but we're going to have a look at that.
Easy, Danny Sullivan. Oh, we have contact from Kyle Martinson. See how this occurs as they go through turns 3 and 4. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, and it is just contact right on the rear bumper, a little shove mid-corner, and around goes Brandon Lee, and he didn't even go fully around.
We're gonna watch a little more of this, Jeff. This is Kyle Martinson gets a little bit frustrated, I believe, with the number 10 cars. Here we are, the previous lap. You can see Brendan Lee blocking, little Formula 1 style. One move only, Brendan, and he makes that move down to the bottom. Kyle clearly did not like that, as he now will put the bumper to the 10 car.
Man, that's tough.
And Kyle rights the ship. I think he wanted to let him know he was upset. And he rights the 10 car. It isn't even a Danny Sullivan moment, Jeff. He just spins him right back around. No damage, no harm, no foul, really. But unfortunately, because the yellow came out, that is harm.
Yeah, unfortunate situation there. And not going to be good for Brendan Lee either. He might have taken a little damage. But also, locking down the tires like that, who knows how much damage he did to the tires there. And with all the tire saving going on, that's definitely not a good sign for Brendan Lee. So he is going to restart the leader, because the 07 was at fault. 07 going to go to the rear of the field. That's Kyle Martinson going to drop all the way back to the 32nd position. Brendan Lee going to maintain the lead because he got that thing rolling before Mason Johnson was able to get there. Well, Bill, we are going to double him up here. Brendan Lee now still your leader. Mason Johnson into the second spot. Hunter Harriet, who's been on a tear coming through the field, started 7th. He is up to 3rd now. Blake Thronberg runs 4th. Braxton DeWeese runs 5th. Ricky Howell 6th. Kieran Church, Reagan Parent, Kevin Hammond, Peter Fisher, your top 10. Pace cars off the racetrack. Brendan Lee heading for the Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing restart zone. And he is off and away. And Mason Johnson going to try to get down the racetrack here in front of Hunter Harriet. He does. So your top 3 are single file. Braxton DeWeese into the 4th spot. Thronberg is clear. Now it's between Kieran and Church. And now Ricky Howell gets into the back of Thronberg. Thronberg's going around. We got a big crash.
Oh, big crash is not the turn for what's still happening. Kevin Hammond is upside down. He'll be turtled. We've got Brad Carpenter sitting on the top of Elliot Carlson's car. Thronberg is actually not in a bad place right now as he gets pushed out of the way. That car might be okay. He's got quite a bit of damage on the left side. Kevin Hammond was completely upside down. Cody Bohm's caught in this. We're going to try to give everybody a... Wow, we're going to unpack this one, Jeff, as quickly as possible. How did this start? You said it was Thronberg, correct?
Yeah, Thronberg got some contact from Ricky Howell, and that's what set that all off.
Wow. This is, oh yeah, through 1 and 2, Thronberg gets turned by the 20 car. Kieran Church involved Peter Fisher quickly, and then it's just cars stacking in. And we're going to give that to you from the chopper cam. I think that's going to give a pretty good view of what went on here. I mean, it was contact and more contact, and then we're at Talladega. That, I don't even know what to say about that at this moment. I mean, this one's pretty heartbreaking for some of these drivers.
Well, Bill, I'm trying to get everybody back on the lead lap here.
You do what you can, Jeff. We're still watching cars fly through the air.
Wow.
We have a great view, if I can find it, from Elliot Carlson, who ends up with a 31 car on his roof. Just nowhere to go. Cars just stopped. And then you get a really good look at the underside of a late model stock. Wow.
Well, Bill, Ricky Howell going to go to the rear of the field, and that's what Reagan Parent's going to want to see. He was able to get through that. Guess who else was also able to get through that? Bladen Edwards, who's now into the 10th position because he missed that wreck. I mean, that is a huge moment for him. And now Blake Thronberg and Ricky Howell are going to have a long road ahead of them if they want to win this championship tonight.
On that last replay, you can see the highlighter yellow number 72 machine squirt through the bottom of that one. So Bladen Edwards playing a smart game right now, as he was able to miss everything that had to do with that wreck. He's moved all the way to 9th, Jeff. That's, wow. Does have some damage on the left rear. The 72 machine clearly got hit by someone or something. Those car's parts are probably flying off a lot. Who knows?
Wow, just a unbelievable moment there. I mean, so aggressive so early in this race, and 2 of your playoff drivers get collected there. Blake Thronberg, he is asking some of his fellow competitors what the damage is like. They're asking other people on the racetrack to take a look at it so he can decide how bad this car is. He's currently being scored 19th.
We're taking a look at it right now, Jeff. I mean, there are quite a few cars still on the lead lap here. Another 10 cars behind him. A lot of damage on the left side of the 22 machine. It's going to be tough, I think, for Thronberg. Hopefully that car, it looked to me like it was tracking straight, so it should be okay. Looks like Ricky Howell is still doing pretty well in the 20 car. So obviously he didn't take a lot of damage from that, as he was part of the start of that incident and didn't get caught in it, as he was able to get on by. In the back of the field, just a ton of wrecked race cars that some of them ended up upside down. Did Kevin Hammond ever get moving? Yeah, he did. Hammond out on the racetrack. He's 4 laps down into the 7 machine. That's tough for him because he was the Simrap market points leader. Of course, Jeff doing serious overtime when it comes to scoring this race right now because we had a whole bunch of cars that were just crashed. And the pace car passed a bunch of cars. You saw that on the replay.
Yeah, Bill, also the other issue, we still were trying to get cars lined up. Ricky Howell had gotten the penalty, but the way it sent him to the back of the cars that were still getting their wave bys, and he was still like in the 15th spot, so we're going to make sure he goes all the way to the back. So one more lap here, and then I believe we should be good to go.
Well done from the truck, Jeff. Good job.
Hey, we do our part here.
That's right.
We're going to go back to racing on lap 79, actually lap 80 here for the leaders. Heading to that BSRM restart zone for Brendan Lee. Single file restart this time. They did not complete 5 laps. Mason Johnson, Hunter Harriet, Braxton DeWeese, Reagan Parent, now the leader of your 4 playoff drivers. Brendan Lee out front of Mason Johnson, 81 of Hunter Harriet runs third. A little battling going on further back with Bladen Edwards going around Josh Oswald. This is a battle for 8th on the racetrack. Actually, 8th place. So Bladen Edwards up into the 8th spot as Josh Oswald falls back a spot. Here comes Jake Grout, who's now moved into the top 10. Remember, Jake had a penalty early in this race for caution early on, and he went to the back of the field, found his way back to the front now.
Todd Cousins is there as well in the 2 car. Now, Alvin Hires. He's actually made his way all the way up to 12th, Jeff, in the 317. He came out of the B main.
Yeah, Alvin having a great run. There's going to be some serious candidates here tonight for the Adobe Mountain Speedway Hard Charger, including Bladen Edwards, who's now up from 32nd position to 8th. Travis Roma started 19th. He is up to 6th. So some cars moving forward now late in this one as we are 84 laps in. Brendan Lee out front, but Mason Johnson starting to put the pressure to the 10 machine.
Kyle Martin's going to look around Brad Carpenter. Brad Carpenter had a lot of damage from that incident as he ended up on the hood, and we saw that on the hood of Elliot Carlson's car. Kyle Martin looks pretty clean in that 07 machine. He'll take that spot. That's a battle for 17th. Blake Thronberg is in that battle as well. He's rolling around right now in the 19th position.
Mason Johnson peeking to the outside now as Brendan Lee moves up the racetrack. He's been very, very defensive, and it almost got him in trouble with Kyle Martinson just a little bit ago, so he's got to be careful because Mason Johnson might not be willing to put up with the little bit of blocking as well.
You're starting to hear the engines, Jeff. They sound like they're up a little bit in song. This is what we talk about. We get a yellow.
Ricky Howell is around in the middle 1 and 2.
Elliot Carlson involved. Sam Wetstein as well. That is a huge issue for a playoff driver as he is still backed up against the wall, Jeff. That car looks hurt.
So Ricky Howell now turning around backwards, and I think Ricky just called it. I think he just left the race, and that might be the end of it for the 20 machine.
And he took evasive maneuvers. Now this looks like it starts with Elliot Carlson and Scott Negus as they go down into turn number 1, and I think this is just a situation where 2 cars kind of meet, and Ricky was trying to go around the 09 car that was sliding up the racetrack, and Wetstein was already there, and man, did he hit the wall hard. We're going to take a look from the chopper cam as what exactly happened to Elliot Carlson here. I think he just misses the bottom a little bit, Jeff. Just gets into the left rear, Negus.
Yeah, just sent it down to the bottom. He had a room. Negus gave it to him, but that entry was just so low.
If you want to break your heart, Jeff, watch the 20 car here. Ricky Howell, one of your playoff contenders, absolutely taters the wall in 1 and 2. And the motor blew on the 20 car, so that is definitely the end of the night for Ricky. That's not going to give us a look like we wanted.
Well, Ricky had such a good run last night, and he had to be feeling pretty confident about his run tonight because he was the fastest of the 4 playoff guys last night. Fortunately, got involved in an incident, and then again tonight involved in one. Actually, that's the second one, and his comes to a brutal end. Going to finish 4th in points now for Ricky Howell, and Out front, it's Reagan Parent leads the way. He's sitting 5th in the race, but leads the points. Bladen Edwards 8th right now. Looking at Blake Throneberg, who sits 18th on the racetrack. Currently running 3rd in the standings, but don't count Blake out yet. I don't think he's done.
Well, he's already moved to 3rd with Ricky Howe's troubles. See, like you said, I don't think Throneberg's done it all. So you never know what can happen in one of these races.
As aggressive as these guys have been up front, I even where Reagan Parent sits in 5th, that is not safe. The guys around him have been extremely aggressive, and right now Reagan's got to just be thinking ducking and diving and trying to stay out of trouble right now, because the rest of the field all wants a win, and they are going all out for it right now.
We talk to Reagan pretty often. He does spend some time in the ITZR Discord, and I got to imagine that Reagan's heart is beating out of his chest right now.
Yeah, I don't know if Reagan, when I talked to him earlier, he didn't really seem that nervous, but I don't know if he necessarily thought he was going to have a shot at this tonight, and especially to be in the position that he is right now as Brendan Lee hits the BSRM restart zone with Mason Johnson, Hunter Harriet, Braxton Louise, Reagan Parent behind him. We are green flag racing once again in the Islander in 125, lap 91 restart.
Mason Johnson took a peek down into turn number 1, wasn't able to get to the inside of Brendan Lee. Whether or not he has anything for the 10 car, we're not sure, as they seem to be matching their pace when we are green flag racing. First battle on the racetrack, I believe, involves Bladen Edwards. Actually, no, it's not. It's right behind him. It's Jake Grout. Jake Grout is side by side with Oswald. Josh Oswald on the outside in the 17 car, and Oswald's going to start to look around. Look like he might be able to make the move on Edwards through 1 and 2. Wasn't able to do it. He'll stay side by side with Grout down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Todd Cousins has found himself back up there as well in the 2 car. He's starting to gain here on that group, and Jake Grout runs in the 10th spot. Todd Cousins going to peek to the outside, maybe try to go around. And now Bladen Edwards struggling with David Hill in the 3 machine. He tried to get to the inside. Hill shut the door. So Bladen's been caught in the 8th position and needs to get moving here.
Cody Bohm just made a move on Alvin Hires. That was for the 13th spot. Hires going to look to the back to the inside, entering 1 and 2, not able to make the move.
Blake Throneberg did get up 1 position, as I believe they went around Casey Wiggins, so he is up to 17th now.
So many damaged cars on the racetrack, Jeff. You just hate to see that. That just means you've had a really rough race. And honestly, it hasn't been that rough. It was just one giant wreck.
Yeah, it was big wrecks when they happened here, because this is a fast racetrack and there wasn't a lot of room to hide when things went bad. That inside wall kind of keeps everybody at bay, right? Everybody's kind of stuck in one lane. And when the wrecks start piling up, they collect a lot of cars. As Brendan Lee out front of Mason Johnson with Hunter Harriet in tow. They're starting to gap Braxton Louise a little bit. He runs 4th. Reagan Parent's found a nice place on the racetrack, but nobody behind him. He's running 5th, and it's a little bit of gap back to Travis Roma. Then David Hill runs 7th, who's got Bladen Edwards behind him. Donald Clark has found his way up to 12th as Todd Cousins now trying to get underneath Jake Grout.
Blake Throneberg just made a move on Rick Rube. Rick Rube up the racetrack in the 81 car. Throneberg moves into the 15th spot in that 22 car. And that thing is beat on the left side, Jeff, and Blake able to still make moves on this racetrack. Kyle Martinson's going to follow him through, so move Rick Rube back to the 17th spot.
Alvin Hires, the next car that Blake's going to encounter here as he goes down to the bottom in turn 3. Going to back out of it a little bit. Wasn't ready to make that move just yet. But down the front straightaway, he's going to be there. Hires tried to block a little bit, it looks like, coming off turn 4, but just not enough speed to be able to keep that 22 at bay.
Jake Grout and Donald Clark are going to battle for position. That is a battle for the 11th position as Donald Clark's going to move by the 49 machine. So
I think Grout might have
up to 11th.
I think Grout might have got the wall there as well as Donald was going by him. I think the 49 pushed up into the fence just a bit.
Still a good run from the 49 car. Having a great night tonight. Running 12th. A lot of damage on the front of that 49, but still has some speed in that car as he's up in the top 15.
Well, you're having a heck of a battle up front because Brendan Lee is feeling some pressure from Mason Johnson. Johnson has been there every step of the way since this restart. Now working lap 102. And now he's starting to put some pressure on Brendan Lee. He is right there on the back bumper. And now the caution's going to wave.
It's
looking
Bladen
around.
Edwards, Jeff.
Oh no, Bladen is, and that car is smoking serious damage to Bladen Edwards' car.
Oh, and Bladen clearly unhappy with the 3 car, retaliates on the 3, takes it to the pit area. And we'll take a look and see what happened to Bladen as they entered turn number 3. Here we go, onto the back straightaway. Bladen gets a good run on David Hill in that 3 machine. Looks to the inside down the back straightaway. And Hill just said, no way. And then Josh Oswald just nowhere to go in the 17. Completely cleans out both of those drivers. But I think Bladen was looking for a break right there from the 3 car. And David just, I mean, he was there off of 2. We're taking a look at it from the, basically the start, and just chops the nose off. I think Bladen was beyond frustrated at that point.
Yeah, that's just a moment though. You gotta take it sometimes, and you gotta think about the big picture. And that was just the wrong time to retaliate on somebody because you think they threw a block on you. And Bladen Edwards not going to become a repeat winner in this championship this season.
I mean, that was incredibly close to not being clear. I don't know if I've ever seen cars get that close. You know, where he was not underneath him, Jeff, and when the 3 car came across the nose, I mean, it basically parked the 3 car's bumper over the top of Bladen Edwards' nose. And no contact was made until they went into the corner, and Bladen got into the back bumper after they had cleared.
Well, Bill, that is 2 playoff drivers out of this race now. It all comes down to Blake Thronberg and Reagan Parent. Reagan runs 5th. Blake Thronberg up into the 11th position now. He is starting to charge his way back. And this is going to end up being a battle at the end, Bill. We said don't count Blake Thronberg out yet. It's not over, and he is starting to work his way back to the front.
Just so much damage on that 22 car, and Reagan has just been so great all night long. Just clean as a whistle in that 17 machine. A lot of those cars up front, Jeff, very clean race cars. It's this top 10 on back that have had issues multiple times tonight.
Well, here we go, Bill, heading to the Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing Restart Zone for Brendan Lee, Mason Johnson, Hunter Harriet, Braxton Deweese, Reagan Parent, your top 5. Back to Green Flag Racing here at Myrtle Beach, lap 107 restart.
Carbon copy of the last 3 restarts as Mason Johnson not able to make the move on Brendan Lee for the lead. They'll go single file down the back straightaway. Hunter Harriet able to slot into 3rd.
Bill, Reagan Parent had a car underneath Braxton Deweese. And now we got a car spinning off turn 4. What's a black car? It might have been Cody Bohm that went around, who was running, I believe, in 11th.
Well, these guys are just having trouble tonight.
And I think Cody might have gotten the back of Thronberg, and then he got turned around himself.
Bit of an accordion effect, and I'll tell you what, as bad as some of this stuff has been, that was a fantastic job by the back half of that field, missing the 78 car who was parked on in the middle of the racetrack. But let's take a look and see how this happens.
It was Thronberg that got in the back of Jake Grout, got the 49 sideways. Thronberg lifted to let the 49 gather it up. So did Cody Bohm, and then Kyle Martinson just nowhere to go. Turns Bohm around.
That is what would be known as a racing deal. Nothing Kyle Martinson could do. But so much happening with our playoff drivers, Jeff. This is as much action that I think we've ever seen with our playoff drivers. I said that before the race. I was hoping those 4 guys could race with each other like we saw last season. And unfortunately, this season, it's this race has just been an avoidance style race where they just need to keep it clean.
Yeah, again, the playoff guys came out. They were pretty aggressive from the get-go. but so was everybody else. Last night, we saw a lot of aggressive racing from the playoff guys, and everybody else gave them a lot of room. It didn't seem like everybody really wanted to race that hard with them. Tonight, all the gloves have come off. Everybody just said, you know what, I want to win a race before the season is over, and I don't care about what's happening with the playoff guys. That's up to them to settle, and you're seeing it tonight. I mean, they've come out, and they've wanted to win races and get one before this is over.
You saw in that replay what I talked about. So many of those cars able to split the Cody Bohm car that was sitting in turn 4.
Well, reset in the field, Brendan Lee, Mason Johnson, Hunter Harriet, Braxton Weiss, Reagan Parent, your top 5. Travis Roma runs 6th ahead of Todd Cousins, Donald Clark, Jake Rout, now Blake Throneberg into the top 10. Kyle Martinson back up to 11th. Alvin Hires runs 12th ahead of Brad Carpenter, Rick Rube, Casey Wiggins, your top 15. And Bill, looking at that Adobe Mountain Speedway Hard Charger Award entries, Donald Clark 22nd to 8th right now. Alvin Hires 30th to 12th. This will be a single file restart because they did not complete 5 laps. So break maybe for Mason Johnson, who's not going to have to really challenge with anybody directly behind him or try to get down in line right now. He can just focus on getting a good restart here with Brendan Lee, Hunter Harriet, Braxton Deweese, Reagan Parent behind them. Pace car is off in that Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing restart zone. Back to racing, and the Islander in 125, 113 restart here.
Single file restart brings him single file through turns 1 and 2. Mason Johnson still not able to challenge Brendan R. Lee for the lead, but Blake Throneberg still making moves in that 22 car. So he goes by Jake Rout in the 49. Blake Throneberg is not done yet. Reagan Parent can probably look in the mirror. He's only 4 cars back.
Yeah, Throneberg starting to creep into the picture, but just about 10 laps to go when they cross the line. So time is running out right now for Blake Throneberg, and the caution's going to wave trouble in the back of the field.
Brad Carpenter around on the back straightaway.
As the 31 machine turned around.
Situation looks like he came together with Alvin Hires onto the back, coming off of turn 2. I think Hires got a little bit high and a little bit loose in that 317 car. Let's see if we can get a better angle on that. Let's see, 317 up the racetrack, a little bit loose there. Kind of gives him a little bit of tank slapper as he comes down the track and catches the right front of the 31. We're going to go to the Stinger Motorsports chopper cam, see if we can get you a better shot of that one. Doesn't come down very far. But Brad clearly not changing lanes there as he was just kind of running that bottom lane. He's following the 07 of Kyle Martinson.
Well, Bill, we are going to go quickie caution here, so to make sure these guys get maximum time to race, and that was just a single car spin. The opportunity for quickie cautions. We were going to get the one to go. Single file restart here.
Another single file restart. You know what that means, Jeff?
What's that?
They haven't made it 5 laps in a while.
They have not. So here we go. Brendan Lee out front, heading that Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing restart zone. Here we go. Championship on the line for Reagan Parent, who runs 5th. Blake Throneberg is starting to make his way to the front. We are green flag racing. Mason Johnson did not really keep pace with the 10 there. Lost about a car length. Hunter Harriet had to check up for him a little bit going into turn 1.
Throneberg making another move, Jeff, in the 22. He's underneath Donald Clark. Move him up to 8th. With 6 laps to go. Throneberg marching towards the front. Reagan Parent's got to be paying attention to where he is on his relative.
Yeah, now just 2 cars separate those two as Brendan Lee leads out front. Mason Johnson might have got the wall down the back straightaway. He is really pushing in the 25 now, trying to get around the number 10 car because Hunter Harriet is there. He is all over Mason Johnson, and Braxton Deweese is lurking there in the 4th spot as well.
Try to keep an eye on both situations. You've got a battle for your lead as Mason Johnson trying to take that lead away, and Blake Thronberg trying to march his way forward. Reagan Parent just trying to hang out.
And we got trouble in the middle of the field. That's Kyle Martinson around. Martinson was in the 10th position. He gets caught up with Casey Wiggins. Now the 07 is around.
Now they were battling for it was Jake Grout and Martinson were battling for multiple laps. We've been watching it, but I wanted to start watching the battle for the lead with less than 5 laps to go. And I think that one's going to be a tough one. Grout was in the wall. I'm not sure the line is going to be difficult to see for Kyle Martinson, but I think this is just another we just didn't give each other room situation.
Yeah, it seemed like Martinson was up the racetrack. Grout obviously came off the wall very hard.
Going to work out. That Stinger Motorsports chopper cam's got to be almost out of fuel at this point. What is the entry point there? I gotta watch. You can see Grout gets into the wall twice down the back straightaway. Catches it there. Almost. Actually, it's just once. I think they kind of meet in the middle there. I think if you're alone, that's the line if you're Martinson, right?
Yeah, kind of, as you said, meet in the middle.
I mean, when you look at it from certain angles, it looks like Martinson's way up the racetrack.
Well, that is going to extend this race. We're going to go green-white checkered now, 1 of 3 if needed. And they did not complete 5 laps again, so it will be a single file restart for this green-white checkered. Might be music to the ears of Reagan Parent, who probably doesn't want to see a double file right now because Blake Thronberg is just 2 spots behind him.
I will say Travis Roma hasn't shown the want to get up and challenge your possible points champion right now. He has actually just kind of hung out behind him and really hasn't done much in that 38 car. Once he's gotten to 6, kind of plateaued, and I don't think he's really trying to get up there and battle with that 17 car. So that's probably good news for Reagan Parent as well. Todd Cousins having a fantastic run in this race in that 2 car. Maybe might want to keep Mark Martin paint schemes on that car in the future. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. Having a good run. It was involved in an incident early on. Has been able to fight his way back, kept that car clean from that point on. And here we go. Green-white checkered finish coming. Brandon Lee out front with Mason Johnson, Hunter Harriet, Braxton DeWeese, Reagan Parent, your top 5. Travis Roma, Todd Cousins, Blake Thronberg, Donald Clark, Jake Grout, your top 10. Pace car going to head off the racetrack as they hit the BSRM restart zone, possibly for the last time this season. First of 3 green-white checkers if they're needed, but Brandon Lee's hoping they're not. He's hoping to bring this thing home, backing away, racing. He's got a great restart on Mason Johnson. Johnson lost about 3-4 car lengths there coming to the green flag. Yeah,
Mason Johnson did not get moving, and now that's going to give Braxton DeWeese an opportunity to try to pass for 3rd. Braxton DeWeese to the inside of Hunter Harriet. He'll battle down the back straightaway, side by side for 3rd, but out front, Brendan Lee is sailing. And Reagan Parent, he's loving what he's seeing around him, but here comes Blake Thronberg to the inside. He's going to try to make a move for 7th. White flag.
White flag is out for Brendan Lee down the back straightaway. He's got about 2 car lengths over Mason Johnson. Braxton DeWeese trying to take that 3rd spot away. Reagan Parent sits comfortably in the 5th spot. Off turn 4. Brendan Lee's going to win the Islander in 125 ahead of Mason Johnson. Give it to Hunter Harriet at the line. Reagan Parent's going to finish 5th. He's going to be your champion.
Two happy drivers at the end of this race. You see Reagan Parent streaking by in the 17 car. Is Brendan Lee going to be your winner in the Islander in 125? But Reagan Parent, he will be your champion in the 17 car. Cannot wait to talk to Reagan Parent about that. Not something I think the driver of the 17 really expected coming into this race.
Well, Bill, he did everything he needed to do tonight, which is keep his nose clean. He got a top 5 starting position. He finished in the top 5. That was what it took to get it done, and that's what he did. And a heartbreak for Blake Thronberg because it wasn't anything of his doing that he got caught up in that wreck. He got hit from behind, and he had such an incredible season, and it's a shame that it ended that way.
Reagan Parent does not care who won the race. He is absolutely burning it down on the front straightaway. Brendan Lee's just watching, but Reagan Parent's going to give us all the donuts we need tonight. Reagan clearly a happy driver in that 17 car. Congratulations to both of those guys as Brendan Lee comes home with the win. Reagan Parent comes home with his first late model Challenger Series championship.
Well, I was planning to go out of order, but we're still waiting on Reagan there. I think we got him now.
He's still doing donuts, Jeff. He's Krispy Kreme down there.
Well, Reagan Parent going to join us. And Reagan, we were talking about it early on. I got a chance to talk to you before the race even started tonight. You seem pretty cool. You seem pretty relaxed. I almost felt like you didn't think you had a chance tonight. And then all of a sudden, you're leading it at the end. What were you thinking in that final green, white, checkered, sitting fifth ahead of all the other playoff drivers?
I just want it to be over. Just every single yellow, I'm like, all right. I'm looking in my mirror. I'm like, oh, Bladen's getting closer. And then they had that incident. And then at the end, it was the 22 was getting closer and closer. And I'm like, oh boy, I just wanted it to be over. And here we are.
So Reagan, talk about when you saw something happen to Ricky Howe for most of the race, and Blake Thronberg for that matter. I mean, you guys were all kind of battling up in that top 10, and both of those guys experienced some issues. When you saw that happen, did you get really excited? Did you get really nervous? What were the feelings inside the car?
I mean, I was pretty excited because I had known that Bladen was towards the back, and that was the other two people that I was driving against. So at that point, I'm like, all right, now I just got to set sail and cruise and just kind of just try to maintain where I was and not burn up my tires too much so I could just ride.
Well, Reagan, you're going to win your first ITZR championship. I mean, how cool is that? What does that mean to you to be able to take home the title?
I mean, it's awesome. I really can't even believe it right now. I gotta thank Tom Axum and Ryan Kuhn. They came and spotted for me and helped me out that whole race, tell me not to push it too much, like just coach me the whole way along. I gotta thank them a ton. Um, Actually gonna donate $20 of my winnings from this race to pay for them in the race next year with me in the Monday night series. So just looking forward to that now. We were talking earlier, Jeff. You said, "What do you think you're gonna do in your last race in the Tuesday nights?" I said, "I don't really know. I look forward to coming back in 2 seasons, but I'm hoping that's not the case anymore."
Well, did you hear that, Jeff? He just said that Tom Axum and Ryan Kuhn are going to race on Monday nights with him on. That's great, Reagan. Two guys you get to finish behind. Fantastic.
Oh,
Oh,
But yeah, man, fantastic job. Honestly, congratulations. We talk all the time. We always have a conversation. During the race events and things like that. And I felt like coming into this race, you were excited about being part of the Final Four, but weren't sure how this was going to go down. So tell us how it feels, man, just to know that you are now a late model Challenger Series champion. They can never take it away from you, and that punches your ticket to Monday nights.
yeah, it's just awesome. I'm really at a loss of words. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I going into it, I really didn't expect to win the whole thing, and I'm just happy to be here.
well, we talked about it early on in the night. Keeping your nose clean was going to be important, and you were one of the guys that was able to do it. I mean, how much pressure was there to with all these guys racing? I mean, they were racing so aggressive around you at the front. How hard was it to race in that group and try to stay out of the way and just focus on the playoff guys?
Yeah, I just knew I had to maintain my pace. Like going into this race, I knew I'd never planned on winning this race. I just knew I just needed to focus on where the other other three drivers were and just match where I was to them. Like I got a little nervous when I was back to about 11th or 12th when Blake was still up in like fourth, but luckily enough, we ended up starting to pick them back off one by one and work our way back up to them. And then that's when that incident happened between those two.
So Reagan, you've been running on Monday nights for test sessions. How does it feel now that that is something you're going to have to take seriously with that group of drivers? And while you're answering that, go ahead and give a shout out to everybody you want to. I know you already thanked the guys that spotted for you. I mean, that is one heck of a booth to be hearing from multiple time champions up there. But why don't you give a shout out to all your guys and tell me how you're going to do on Monday nights next season?
I don't know how I'm gonna do on Monday nights next year. We'll see, but gotta thank again Ryan Kuhn, RKM Setup Shop, by far great setups every division that we run. He always builds great cars. Black Flag Podcast, Preston DeMello for the awesome paint scheme, and of course just you guys, everybody that sponsors the series, everybody that's raced, just everybody that watches, my mom, my dad, they always tune in every week.
Well, Reagan, before we let you go, we always like to talk to the guys about their real life racing. And I think you said something to me. You're about to get back behind the wheel of a real car, maybe this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'll be back behind the wheel of a legend car at Star Speedway in Epping, New Hampshire. I raced the same car a couple weeks back, and unfortunately, I broke before the race started. We were really good. Finished second in my heat race. Was slated to start third in the feature, but we broke. So we're gonna go run it back again this weekend and see what we can do.
All right, Reagan. Well, congratulations on becoming champ, and go celebrate with the guys. And we can't wait to see you guys back on Monday nights. It sounds like you're bringing a whole bunch of fast drivers with you on Monday.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see what we can do.
Great job, Reagan.
Thank you.
Well, joining us now, our race winner tonight, Brendan Lee. And Brendan, your second win of the season. You had one earlier this season. You come out for the season finale, and it almost looked like it was going to end in disaster for you. You got turned around through the center of 3 and 4. What was going on there with that situation?
Yeah. I got to shout out Cody Kelly. Last night he told me, to get out to the lead and maintain the lead, and that was the best place to be. And last night I tried to ride a little bit, and it just didn't work out for me. So I knew I needed to get the lead early, and we were able to do that. I was trying to save there, and I seen him coming. I was just trying to stay on the bottom. I mean, I was going to let him go around me on the top, but I just had a hard time giving up the bottom, and I think he got into me in 3 and 4, and had the little ordeal there. But luckily we were able to come out good on it.
So you talked a little bit about the strategy there, Brendan. So that was what you wanted to do. You wanted to stay out front. Now, if he had taken the lead on the outside, was that going to be? I mean, was that going to be a problem for you? I'm kind of wondering. You said you're going to let him go around the outside, and he probably could have. I mean, with the pace that you guys are running, or do you think just staying on the bottom and just staying out front was the plan all night long?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get out front and control the race. I felt like I could save out there just as much as 12th or 13th place could save. Um, and then yeah, I just didn't want to let him pass me on the bottom. Like I was trying to stay on the bottom and save my tires and be straight. If he would have went to the outside, then I would have kind of had to regroup on what I was going to do, if I was going to try and clear him back or let him go. But we had the little scuffle there, but like I said, luckily we were able to come out good on it.
Well, coming down to the wire there, Mason Johnson looked like he might have had a little bit more speed. Did you feel like the tires were going away, or was he just able to get a little bit better line on you, chasing you?
Uh, yeah, like I said, when Kyle was giving me a run there, I felt like I had to use it up a little bit more than I wanted to, and Mason may have been a few tenths quicker, or not a few tenths, but a few thousandths quicker a lap or something like that. And I felt like once we got going pretty good, I was able to just like maintain the lead. Kind of when we fired off, I'd pull away for a lap or two, and then he'd able to roll back to me, and then we were kind of evened out. But me, Mason, and Hunter, we had a plan. We wanted to finish top three. Shout out to Good and Boys Racing. And I'm glad we were able to do it.
Look at that, Jeff. The top three. Hey, we're gonna take podium. Nobody else is gonna be able to run with us. Okay, sounds like a good plan. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean that's a great plan if you could execute.
Yeah, that's amazing. But Brendan, is there any point when you were running the pace, or I know you had Cody Kelly on the box. Obviously, he was fantastic last night in the late model shootout series. Was there any point you felt like maybe you were burning up the tires a little too much, and Mason might have been saving a little better? I can't even imagine how you guys are able to figure out what pace you need to run when you're not running behind anyone. You're just kind of out there setting it. Were you ever thinking maybe you were using it up just a little bit too much?
Um, Not early in the race. I was talking to Mason and Hunter, and we were sharing lap times, and we had Cody on the box, kind of telling us what people behind us were running, so we kind of knew where we were at and where we needed to be. The only time I felt like I really used up more than I wanted to was when I was having to try and stay on the bottom and run it a little bit harder than I wanted to when Kyle was giving me a run there, but not really. Like I said, good information from Cody Kelly all night, with lap times and stuff helped us get this win.
Or Brennan, shifting focus to the real life racing. I know you're part of that group that races out in South Carolina around Bill's territory out there.
That's right.
What do you got coming up next for you if they want to go see the real life car that you got that looks just like the sim car?
Yeah, we're racing this weekend at Florence Motor Speedway. in the Charger class.
Well, I love when they say the Charger class. Nobody really knows what that is, Jeff. I believe that's a 602, basically late model stock, a perimeter late model. So they look just like late model stocks. They look like what you see on the sim. They just don't have quite as much power, but they still hustle. They move.
Yeah, sorry, I should have said limited because that's what it is.
Right.
I'm just so used to calling it Charger, but it's it's a limited late model. We're on 2 new tires and 2 scuff, just with a smaller carburetor and no bump stops.
Yeah, they fly, Jeff. I had got my first taste of Charger racing there at Florence. I don't think you were in the race that I saw, Brendan, but they really get around the racetrack and they're fun to watch. So, and Brendan, obviously, I think you had a win or two there last season, correct?
Yeah, we picked up a win last year. Yep.
Well, Brendan, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank? Anybody that might be watching the stream you want to shout out right now?
I want to give a shout out to Good and Boys Racing, Cody Kelly, Mason Johnson, and Hunter. I also want to shout out my real life sponsors: Rains Hospitality, Hartsville Country Club, Browns RV, Superstore, Monraga Roofing, and DSI Metals.
All right, Brendan, congratulations on winning the season finale. It's great to end the year on a high note, and we look forward to seeing you back in both series after our summer break.
Yep, that's the plan. I hope to be able to run both of them.
All right, Brandon, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, now joining us, second place finisher tonight, Mason Johnson. And Mason, I'm going to say you probably had one of the biggest turnarounds this season. It seemed like you really struggled early on in the year. You had some bad luck, and all of a sudden, the end of the year, you really came to life, and you finished with your best finish of the season, second place here tonight. And it seemed like you might have had something for Brendan at the end. What did you need to get around him?
Yeah, we had some pretty bad luck at the beginning of the season. Kind of changed strategies a little bit, but yeah, I was pretty fast at the end. Me, Hunter, and Brendan, we wanted to finish 1, 2, 3. So we were talking the whole race. Just don't do anything stupid. Let's finish 1, 2, 3, no matter who wins. But I think Brendan had to burn his stuff up a little bit when he was racing with that other guy that was up there with him for a little while. Me and Hunter were a little quicker, but we wasn't going to take chances of not finishing 1, 2, 3 at our home track last race. So.
Come on. There was no Mason. You never thought maybe I want to pull to the outside and see what I've got for the 10 car, pick up a win here.
Oh, we thought about it. We thought about it and we laughed about it. But I know us three, we raced too hard, and with our luck, we beat on wreck all three of us, and neither one of us would have finished. So.
Well, Mason, it was kind of a rough race there towards the end. At what point did it feel like it was go time? Like the intensity was really starting to pick up. It seemed like there was a definite shift about halfway through that race.
Yeah, we had to Cody race last night, and we all three know him pretty good, and he told us it'd be better to get out front if we can, just ride as a team. And we got out front like we did, and Brendan rose, and we just stayed bumper to bumper. And I guess we had a couple cautions right there at the end, and it was time to go. So we had to see what we had at the end, and it worked out pretty good.
Jeff, I think we should not allow Cody Kelly on anybody's boxes anymore here at Myrtle Beach. I mean, obviously, he's pretty good here. But Mason, man, what are your plans moving forward? I mean, I think clearly you're a Monday night guy. So is that with the speed to run up front here in the Late Model Challenger Series? Do you plan to switch over to Monday nights? And obviously, you still be able to run here as well. But how do you think you would fare with those guys that run on the Monday night, especially since Cody Kelly won't be able to help you?
Oh yeah, I think I'll be a Monday night guy. Other than that bad luck at the beginning of the season, I think I do pretty good Monday night. Try to give Cody a run for his money.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. Also, don't forget the number change as well, Mason. That was probably a big deal. Changing
Yeah,
the
that
number
changed my
obviously
luck a
made
little
all the
bit.
difference. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Mason, before we let you get out of here, anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, I just want to shout out my boys, all good boys, Brendan, Hunter, Cody, Justin Brooks with the paint schemes, Cody Kelly for all the information, and thank my sponsors, Locklear Lawn Care, JRL Electric, and Palmetto Auto Auction.
All right, Mason, congratulations. Best finish of the year. You end on a high note, and we look forward to seeing you next season.
Yeah, thank you.
Joining us now, our third place finisher, Hunter Harriet. And Hunter, we heard from Brendan and Mason, you guys kind of had a deal. You wanted to get in the top three, run top three, but how hard is it to follow to your teammates? How badly do you want to try to find a way around them there at the end?
It was tough all race, honestly. Well, I didn't have the best trap position at the beginning of like fifth or sixth place. I didn't want to make the wrong move too early in the race, so I figured I'd just stick around where I was, and I figured we have enough cautions to where I could get back to third or whatever, especially if I saved enough. And yeah, right there at the end of the race, I was able to get around a couple cars, and we had those late race cautions, and we never really had enough laps to see if we could actually race it out, but I just didn't want to make the wrong move at the wrong time.
Well, obviously the strategy played out, Hunter, because you probably had the toughest job of the top three guys. You actually had to race with some of the cars that were behind you guys as they were trying to put pressure on you. Were you, during the whole race, communicating with those guys, saying, "Hey, how do you guys feel about your tires? How's your car feeling?" That kind of thing, to see if any of that racing actually affected how your car was feeling?
Yeah, the whole race we were shooting out lap times to each other, just trying to stay on the same pace no matter where we were on the racetrack. But early on in the race, I had some guy who was accusing me of being on somebody's team, and I've never even talked to the guy before or nothing. And like, he was threatening to wreck me just because I was trying to save tires as much as I can, but not let him pass me. And then I let the car go around me on the outside, and then he complained that I was blocking the bottom lane.
Well, Hunter, we saw you get into a pretty heated battle there with Ricky Howe in the playoff, one of the playoff contenders, and I gotta wonder how much does that rattle you when you all of a sudden you get kind of in a little bit of a controversy. You guys start banging doors. I mean, how hard is it to refocus, reshift, and keep going towards the top three finish?
I mean, I hit him a few times, like, and I remember checking the whole field was checking up. I didn't mean to get into him a few times that I did. I told him I apologized for it, but he just kept accusing me of letting Blake Thronberg in every time he would go past me and not let Ricky by. But I mean, I was just trying to keep fifth place on the bottom lane the whole time. And sorry if it seemed like we were teammates and I was trying to help him win a championship over Ricky, but it is what it is. I'm glad we came out 1, 2, 3.
Well, I think that just means that you're just a really nice guy on the racetrack, Hunter, and some guys were taking taking issue with that. But no, I mean that obviously, you've spoken enough about that. I think it's just a situation where pretty heated tempers, not necessarily tempers, but just heated emotions going down here in the last championship race. And with that being said, what are your plans for next season? Obviously, one of the decent guys, fast guys here on the Tuesday night series, but not one that's going to finish high enough that can't run on Tuesday nights. So do you plan on running possibly both series next season?
Oh yeah, for sure. If I'm allowed into the Monday night series, I'll run for sure. But this series, the beginning of the year, we just had really bad luck, and it kind of ruined our points race, our point chase. Like halfway through the season, I just kept getting into some wrecks and did not finishes and stuff like that. It really hurts you in the long run, and me missing a couple races also didn't help. But yeah, next season for sure, I'll run both.
Well, Hunter, it's your last chance. You're going to be the last guy to get to thank some people before we hit our summer break. Who do you want to think might be helping you out?
Cody Kelly, them boys already told you that he was giving us so much information about last night. I like to thank Goodham boys. Let's finish. I like to my girlfriend for letting me race too.
That's important. That's important.
I think she thanked you for that one.
Yeah, she's listening in. And Sugar Steakhouse and Justin Brooks for painting this car.
All right, Hunter. Well, congratulations on a fantastic run to end the season. Ends on a high note. And we look forward to seeing you after our summer break for season 7 of the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series.
Oh yeah, see y'all around. Thank you.
Great job. Well, Bill, that is it. It's a wrap. 12 weeks, 2 series. We got 2 brand new champs.
Both well deserving, Jeff. Well, that's fantastic. I think that I wish we would have had a little more out of Josh Cottle last night. It was Reagan Parent that was absolutely through the roof tonight. He was having a fantastic time, and I mean, I'm honestly, like I said, we have talked to Reagan quite a few times this season, and I'm proud of the guys that do win the championships. It is tough to beat these fields. This series with up to 50 guys that show up almost, to this series, and then every single week have a B main, and to win this series, the group of guys that you have to cover is unbelievable. So Reagan Parent doing just a fantastic job, and it'll be fun. That's what makes it so much fun. He cannot come back None of those top 4 can come back next season. They have to go to the Monday Night Series and test their mettle over there until something happens that they fall back down or something like that. But it's going to be fun to watch to see what Reagan Parent, when it really means something. I mean, he was testing over there for Tuesday nights, and he would, like last night he parked. And now he's got to run for points, and he's got to do what he can, and we'll see what he can do. And we talk about it, Jeff. This is the development series. We watch a guy like Reagan Parent continue to develop, and a guy like Caden Fisher, who is brand new coming into this series, wins a title, and now Caden Fisher's running for championships over on Monday night. That's something I see in Reagan Parent's future.
Yeah, and really just the consistency. We had 2 guys in the top 4 that have won 2 races each. Reagan hadn't won a race all season, but he did what he needed to do, is be consistent, be there when it mattered, and he was there every step of the playoffs, made it into the Final 4, and takes the win and on a 5th place finish. And sometimes just consistency. You don't need the raw speed. You just need to keep your nose clean, stay out of trouble, don't put yourself in bad spots, and that's what Reagan Parent did and took home a title.
Yeah, I mean, that's it in a nutshell, right? I mean, that's exactly what you have to do. He did it, and Reagan Parent now late model Challenger Series champion.
And huge shout out to Blake Throberg. Had an incredible season, going to come home 2nd. No, it's going to be a heartbreaking way to go out. Definitely nothing of his own doing, just got turned around midway through that race, and he fought back as much as he could, and going to come home with a 2nd place finish in the points. Ricky Howell and Bladen Edwards as well. 3rd for Bladen Edwards, 4th for Ricky Howell. A fantastic season for them, and now they're going to go to Monday nights and start working their way through the Monday night series, and then next season, Bill, we're going to crown a whole new champion.
And how would you like to be in that Howell household on Monday nights now, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. They still had a fantastic season. I know it didn't end well. They're going to come home just short of a title.
I mean, next season. Next season, when they're both running Monday nights against each other. It's dad versus son. I mean, that's going to be fantastic, too.
Yeah, absolutely. We already got brothers racing in this series against each other. They'll be back, I'm sure, for next season, the Grooms and the Bohms. So can't wait to see it next season. We'll have announcements coming up soon about how you can get involved. And if you want to start, this is where you start. Tuesday nights, start in the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series. It is it's a tough ask. We've had guys. I believe Michael Kirchner might have made his first A main tonight. I mean, it's tough. You can run all season not make an A main. That's how good this group is.
Not an easy series. It's meant for development. We watch guys get better every single week. So if you want to get involved, just let us know. You can come out here and race with us on Tuesday nights.
Well, Bill, we got 2 weeks off, and then we're going to return July 13th for the series finale for the Pierce Fleet Service Super Series, part of Sarah. That is the last race of the season at Lanier, the RS Center Trucking 150. I'm excited for that one because that is going to be the final cap on a opening season for the late model stock. We're going to have all these champions crowned, and we're going to see who the real cream of the crop is when it comes to this late model stock car, and then we'll just start it all over again.
Yep. I mean, that's going to be the last of this season, I guess, for us, right, Jeff? Will be that final Sarah race, and that's going to be a special one. I haven't even broken it to you, Jeff. You don't even know the details of this, but I will eventually. It's a surprise for you as well. That's going to be a special race, and then we'll have obviously what we're calling our summer break, and then we'll go into the fall, see where we kind of land, and then just keep your eye to the ground, and listen for news from ITZR.
Absolutely, and huge thank you to everybody that's hung out with us. There was more views tonight than I've ever seen on Facebook. It was nearing 50 at some point. You guys rock. Everybody that left comments, you guys are so awesome. Thank you to everybody that supported the Series County Road Custom. Make sure you check them out. Just go give them a like on Facebook if you can. It would help us out a ton, helps them out a ton. Elite Performance Industries, you guys have been so great for the Late Model Shootout Series. Thank you to TP3D, of course, the Islander Inn that sponsored our season finale tonight. Adobe Mountain Speedway, the Hard Charger, the Wisconsin Weens and Walleyes for the Quick Qualifier Award, both series all season long. I mean, there's so many people that put in so much for this series.
Ireland Cancer Research Fund.
Yes,
Revelry Racing, Simrat Market, obviously for the playoffs. I mean, man, so much fun, so many great things, and that's what happens. That's when you can't wait for next season.
Yeah, we can't wait. We do appreciate the support and everybody that hangs out and enjoys this with us. All the drivers, biggest fields we've ever seen all season long. You guys have been incredible. Thank you so much, and we will see you July 13th for the season finale for Sarah. Thank you to everybody. Good night. See you July 13th on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Twitch.